Bro,
So
this new brutal point already.
pro-choice, it's morally permissible to abort until the fetus gains sentience.
Okay. It's morally permissible to abort so the fetus gains sentience. And before I give the argument, what do you define sentience as?
Just the ability to react, respond to stimuli.
Yeah, fetuses before they gain sentience can respond to stimuli. In fact, a lot of non-sentient animals can respond to stimuli. It's called rudimentary sentience. It's not. It's a different type of sentience. So, like, you
Wait,
can
give me a
respond to
second.
external stimuli.
Yeah, this is wrong. If they have rudimentary sentience, then they've already developed sentience.
Yeah, fetuses are nearly all stages of development have rudimentary sentience. They respond to external stimuli. It's like it's unclear, what you mean when you say it becomes morally valuable.
Okay, what do you think respond means? How are they responding to it?
Respond just means to have some reaction to an external event. Like
That's not how I was
something
using
external.
it. That's not how I was using it.
Okay,
Look,
how would you use
I'll
it?
just redefine it. I'll just redefine it. I'll make it easier for you. It's like the capacity feel, perceive, and experience subjective experience.
Okay, so sentience is just subjective experience. Okay, nice, we're getting somewhere. Okay, so I'll just give the argument for pro-life. Okay, so are you familiar with Peter Hendrick's impairment argument?
No.
Yeah. I'll just outline, the principle that the argument is based off of. So the principle basically just says that if you impair any agent X to the nth degree, then impairing the agent to the nth plus 1 degree, given that impairing the agent to the nth degree is wrong, would also be wrong.
Sure.
Okay, so you agree to the impairment principle. Okay, so now that you agree to the impairment principle, we can move on to the actual argument. So premise one of the argument is just that it is wrong to give a fetus FAS.
He's giving the argument. What's FAS?
FAS is fetal alcohol syndrome. So it's wrong to give a fetus fetal alcohol syndrome.
What does fetal alcohol syndrome do?
Fetal alcohol syndrome basically just makes it just that the fetus doesn't have certain capabilities and it doesn't have certain cognitive function that if it weren't to begin fetal alcohol syndrome, it would have. So, like, for example, its brain activity would be reduced. It wouldn't be able to perform certain actions to a better extent.
Sure.
Okay, so you agree to that premise that it's wrong to give a fetus FAS.
It's
Hello?
wrong, yeah.
Okay, so do you agree that killing a fetus impairs it more than giving it FAS?
Yeah, sure. I think there's some overriding reasons though.
Okay, we can get to that later, but okay, so killing a fetus impairs it, more than giving it FAS. And via the impairment principle, if giving the fetus FAS is wrong and impairing the fetus by killing it, would impair it to a greater degree, then killing the fetus all else equal would also be wrong. So I've established a conclusion, I've established a pro-life position, which is just that killing the fetus all else equal or ceteris paribus.
That's not the pro-life position. The pro-life position isn't that killing the fetus all else equal is morally impermissible.
Okay, you might be convinced that that's not your conception of what pro-life is, but that's what my conception is, and I think that's what the most consistent conception of what pro-life is.
Okay, then I never really disagreed. I thought that you were defining pro-life as it's morally impermissible to kill the fetus in elective abortion.
Yeah, an elective abortion is just an abortion where it's not an abortion of medical necessity. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so elective abortions are not the type of abortion that do not have necessity. So how would getting an elective abortion, or how would an elective abortion be like an overriding reason? How would the reasons to get an elective abortion
in an elective abortion, the fetus developing? I mean, yes or no? You agree that the fetus developing is against the mother's will?
Well, it's kind of unclear what you mean, because I don't think that it's against the mother's will that the fetus develops. I don't think the mother has any, personal
It's pretty
direct
much
opposition. for the fetus to develop. I think that what the
Oh yeah,
mother, I think the
yeah,
intentional
childbirth,
states that
childbirth.
the
Yes.
mother directs towards the fetus is simply the desire
Yeah,
for
my bad,
her
my
to not
bad.
be
The
burdened with
fetus,
the.
yeah, childbirth,
I think that it was.
childbirth
I
is
think
against
that
the
if it
mother's
was
will.
possible, wait one sec. I think that if it was possible, for the fetus to be extracted and put in another woman's belly, or to exist outside of the mother, I think most people who or most mothers who get abortions would want to do this. I don't think they have any direct will. I don't think they have any direct will to stop the fetus from developing.
Okay. Well, do you agree that I mean, I'd already revised it. I said that the childbirth of the fetus through like the mother, like the same mother, is against the mother's will.
What did you say?
Childbirth is against the mother's will in case of abortion.
Okay, childbirth is against the mother's. Okay, so according to you, when a mother has a baby, um, it's against the mother's will.
No, but in case of okay, when a mother wants to abort the
Yeah, I know
fetus,
I'm referring to abortion cases.
yeah, when a mother wants to abort the fetus, childbirth would be against her will. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be against her will, but I don't think the fetus is imposing it on her will anywhere. I don't think that
I
it
don't
would
care. I
be
don't care.
correct to
I
say
don't care,
that.
bro. I don't care if you think that. The point
Yeah,
is, we can compare this to a case where. Let me close my door. Hold on. Oh boy. Okay, we can compare this to the case where you had like. Let me go in my closet for safety. We can compare this to a case where you had a rock stuck in your vagina, right? This rock is against the rock being there is obviously against your will. Okay, and let's say that the rock in 9 months will develop a future like ours. It actually has future like ours, but in 9 months the rock will develop sentience. Obviously, I think most people would say it's morally permissible for you to like extract the rock out of you.
Well, I think that the reasons for why somebody would say it's morally permissible, are different from the reasons for why we'd say, abortion, or the reasons why we'd present, or the reason why a pro-choice person would say that
Okay.
abortion is morally permissible. I think that the reason why we'd say that the rock, like extracting the rock, would be morally permissible is because, generally, it's not like a normal biological process of a woman to have a rock lodged in her vagina or womb. But it is, this natural biological process of childbirth, of, having a fetus, that's in the womb. And in most cases, if you have a rock that is inside the mother's womb, um, normally it's going to kill, or normally there's like a significant risk to mother's life. But
I
again, in most
understand.
elective abortions, in fact, it's true analytically that an elective abortion is just where the fetus does not actually threaten the life of the mother. However, in the case where you have a rock which is lodged
I
in the
disagree.
vaginas, that
I
could very
disagree.
well threaten the life of the mother.
No, just stuck in the vagina. That doesn't threaten the life of the mother. The hell?
Okay, so the rock does not threaten the life of the mother. Is the rock a human being?
No.
Okay, so now we can get on, to a second motivation for why, this analogy doesn't work. Because, for example, we can replace the rock there with any animal that has the potential to get sentience, right? So we can replace the rock with,
Yeah,
let's say, a
what do you think a
hyena.
human being
Now,
is?
let's say that, wait one sec. Let's say that the hyena is not a human being. Obviously, that's trivial, granted by the definition of hyena. But however, in 9 months, the hyena will get sentience, so it will become, a sentient being. We can just make a distinction, or we can just say that maybe we value some levels of sentience, but we don't value other levels of sentience. Now, the type of sentience that a hyena deploys may not be the type of sentience that we value. However, the type of sentience that a human being may deploy might be the type of sentience that we value.
What do you think a human being is?
A human being is just any given animal, any given biological organism which, has human DNA.
Okay,
It's a
and then you
part of the
said
class Homo
something.
sapiens.
Okay, I mean obviously, and then also Homo sapiens is in a class, dum dum. But look,
A
a
Homo
human
sapien is
being.
a class.
Are you retarded?
You know what a class is?
A homo. Okay, you're so sped. Homo is the genus name, and then sapiens is a species name. Nowhere does it mention the class there.
You do understand the class is just a collection of things that exist within the set. So when I
Okay,
say
that's not the
class,
biological definition of
yeah,
class. I don't care.
yeah, I'm
Okay,
not talking about the biological
moving on.
definition. I'm talking about the logical. I'm talking about the logical usage of
Yeah, the
class. Why would I
Rizzhan
be using the
definition.
biological definition?
The Rizzhan definition. My bad. Okay,
No,
so
I'm
you'd
talking about
say,
the logical definition. I'm talking
oh,
about the one deployed in philosophy.
bro, hold on, listen. You're saying that a human has greater moral consideration than a non-human?
I'm saying that yes, if you have an animal that exists inside the womb, and we learn, okay, this animal is non-human, so there's a very high probability, or like nearly 100% certainty, that this animal would not deploy the same amount of conscious experience or the same amount of sentient experience that a normal human being would deploy. We'd say that, okay, let's just either extract the animal from the womb or just kill the animal. Given that normally it's not the type of thing that we have moral consideration
I
over
see, I
of the
see.
preferences of the mother.
So before we even get into the other trait, the other thing you listed, which is like supposed to be a morally relevant distinction, that being that a rock stuck in your vagina is not like a normal like biological process. For this, you're saying that the morally relevant distinction between a fetus and a rock here is that the fetus is a human and the rock isn't. Yes.
I'm saying that that's the
Okay.
relevant
Just say
distinction,
yes,
but I'm
bro.
saying
Okay.
that the entailments,
Okay.
wait one second, I'm saying that the entailments of being a human would make it such that, the human would deploy a greater amount of sentience than a rock, or a greater amount of sentience than, a hyena.
Okay. It has the potential to deploy a greater amount of sentience. Cool. Uh, and then this is all by virtue of it being a human. Okay. If you learned, say you went to sleep today and then you woke up tomorrow and then you found out that everyone in your house except you was not 100% human, right? They didn't have like the biological, they didn't have like the DNA sequence. I assume that's what you were talking about when you like try to find a human, right? Would it be morally permissible for you to like kill everyone in that house if it meant like saving your own life?
Does it deploy human levels of sentience?
I mean, obviously fucking not, because you said that for to
Okay,
be a
so it
human.
doesn't deploy. No, I'm saying normally when something has human DNA, it would deploy human levels of sentience, and so I'm saying that we'd have good reason to actually abort in the case where the
Oh
fetus
yeah,
is a
yeah, 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 yeah.
non-human.
Okay, I see. So let's say you wake up tomorrow and find out that everyone in your family except you doesn't have 100% human DNA. So you have good reason to assume that they don't have sentience levels equal to yours. It's slightly under. So
Wait,
do you
no,
think it's
but do we have
really?
like
Do you
prior
think it's
evidence to
shut
suggest
the
this?
fuck up? Shut the
Do
fuck
we
up!
have do we have prior?
I'm
Is there a
letting the
prior
ridiculous.
probability that we can assign to that claim? So do we have prior
No,
evidence
no,
to
no, no. You just wake up and all of a sudden you find out that everyone in your family isn't completely 100%
Wait,
human.
I need
They
to
have
ask a few
slightly less
questions about the
sentience level.
reduction.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and then you think it's morally permissible for you to kill everyone in your family
Wait,
to
no, I
save
need to
yourself?
ask a few questions about the reduction. Okay, so number one, you're saying that we haven't ever, interacted with our family before to not
No.
actually know if they deploy human levels of sentience.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we haven't interacted with our family before. That's correct.
No, you haven't interacted with your family before sufficient enough to know whether or not they deploy human levels of what do you call it, sentience.
Okay, you haven't interacted. Okay, and then on this day, you're just walking around and you find out that you humans don't have 100%. Your family doesn't have 100% DNA, human DNA, correct?
Indeed.
Okay, and now you're saying specifically that, or you're asking me, would it be, morally permissible to kill them?
To save your life.
Okay, so I think there's a few nuances about this. So the first nuance is just concerns about whether the part of DNA that they lack is the part of DNA that would be necessary to constitute sentient or conscious experience. If the part of the DNA that they lack is not necessary to constitute or to bring about sentience or conscious experience, then I think that you would not have good reason to actually allow them to save your life.
Okay, and then if this is the part that they lack, so now they have like 99.9% of your sentience level, it's morally permissible to kill them to save your life?
Okay, so I have 99.9% of my sentience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like if
I'll
they're
just say that. I just say that. Look, we have literally similar case like this IRL. So, for example, think of like let's say we have a room of 5 Down syndrome people, and let's say the Down syndrome people have like 70% of my intellectual or my conscious ability or my cognitive ability, right? And then I asked you, okay, would it be more to kill 5 of those Down syndrome people to save your life? Obviously, I'd say no because the cumulative value of those 5 people, even if they have less not significantly less or
What if you live
less.
alone?
What did you say?
What if you lived alone?
What did you say?
Okay, for one, you live alone. Let's say not live alone. You only have one other person in your family. Let's say it's like your mom or something, right? And also, are you saying that it has to be significantly less than yours?
I'm saying that I'm saying that, it would have to be the type of thing which is like significantly less to the point where this thing basically isn't sentient, or like we wouldn't be able to like have an accumulation of value from like these little bits of sentience. But I'm saying that in the Down syndrome example or in the animal example, the accumulation of value of those people overrides, the amount of value that I have.
No, okay, well, that the Down syndrome thing is like completely disanalogous. There's multiple people there, like you mentioned. And with the family example, there's only one other person in your house.
Yeah, okay,
But
so
also,
in the family
if you're
example, wait,
just
let me just
wait,
understand
it
this.
just seems like
There's one other
hold on.
person in the family, correct?
Yeah, your mom.
This one person is stipulated to have less conscious or cognitive ability.
Yeah,
Okay, and all the factors are equalized, correct?
yeah.
Okay, so if all of the factors are equalized and it's me and my mother's life, I don't think there is anything wrong in saving my life over my mother's life. I think that's quite intuitive. I don't see how that
It's quite
would be.
like okay, like you think I'd be doing something morally impermissible if I stopped you from killing your mom?
Okay, so if you okay, so let me just understand this. So the example is stipulated that you actually have to kill your mother, to save, either your life, right?
Yeah, you have to kill your mom to save your life, and if you don't, then you die and she lives. So it
Yeah,
is it
you have to.
morally impermissible for me to stop you from killing your mom in that instance?
And then it's also stipulated that the mother has less sentience or less conscious ability.
Yeah, yeah, she has 99.9% of your sentience levels.
Okay. And then to ask another question, if I don't choose, to kill her, is she gonna kill me?
If you don't choose to kill her, then what do you call it? You'll die.
Will she
Like
kill
someone
me
else will
though?
show up and shoot you. Maybe yeah,
If
maybe
something
she'll
else
kill
was
you. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
okay. So I hold to like a very specific principle in normative ethics, which also deals like situation like this. So it would just be saying that, given that all the traits of both of the outcomes of either killing me or killing my mother are nearly equalizable, I can choose either one of these, right? Because given that they're nearly equalizable and there's an electable difference between, the consequences or the outcomes of both situations, I don't think I'd be doing anything significantly morally wrong in choosing either of the situations. I think that
Okay, so you
anybody would be
okay, I
justified.
see.
I think that anybody would be epistemically or morally justified given the epistemic facts that they have access to either, kill themselves or kill their mother. I don't think that either situation is more morally wrong or like significantly morally wrong to the point where there's like a
I see.
clear there's like a clear situation that I choose.
Okay, so okay, so you just want to like reduce it. Okay, so it's not that what do you call it? It's not that having greater sentience levels than someone else simpliciter gives you greater moral consideration. It's having greater sentience levels to a significant extent, right?
Yeah, I'm saying that the sentient levels there have to
Say
be
yes,
something that we can
bro.
actually make a distinction from.
Okay, well, if you just that it just seems arbitrary. I'm not gonna lie, but
How would
if
it
you just
seem
want to go off,
arbitrary?
anyways, if you just want to go off of like some art, because how are you drawing? How are you determining whether or not significant?
Because you'd be able to see like these significant impairments that they have in in their intellectual ability. Right, like if I have a Down
How do you
syndrome
determine if the
Down
impairment is
person,
significant?
that the way it one sec, that Down syndrome person has like significant impairment, and that Down syndrome person can't even think
How do you
properly,
determine if
can't
it's
formulate
how
sentences.
do you, how do you determine if it's significant impairment?
What did you say?
How do you determine if it's significant impairment?
Well, you determine it in comparison, to the average human. It's like even like we have these standards, like we have these like legal and societal standards where the law and stuff like that actually define, minimal impairment, intellectual capability, significant impairment, and we'll just base significant impairment based on how the average person deploys these capabilities. And if like we can clearly see that this person does
Okay,
not come
clear
close to how
difference.
the average person deploys capabilities, yeah, I
Okay,
think a distinction could be drawn.
this is going to keep going further and further. How do you determine that there's a clear difference?
I just told you how we determine it is based on the average person, how the average person would deploy these capabilities.
Yeah, when you see an average person deploy like specific capability, do something, and then you see like a Down syndrome person do this thing. How do you determine if the Down syndrome person is clearly or like to a great extent or like a significant
Because we'll
extent?
see that they don't have the ability to do these things. Like they don't have the capabilities to deploy these sorts of things that we see,
Okay,
people are normally should deploy. It's like if you have like a human being, like we have this general standard that a human being normally will just like develop to be like the average intellectual agent or the average conscious agent. And if we can see that this Down syndrome person can't deploy a lot of, the things that we normally consider normal for a person to deploy, then I think we'd be justified in saying there's a clear difference between these two people.
okay, and then if this Down syndrome person can't deploy this thing, it's morally permissible to kill it.
No, it wouldn't be morally permissible to kill it without any sufficient reason. There has to be sufficient reason why you want to kill a Down syndrome person. For example, we might say that the sufficient reason is that you want to save your own life. I think that in a situation where you want to save your own life and you have to kill a Down syndrome person, and the alternative is that if you don't do that, you'll be killed or you will die. I think that you'll be
Okay,
morally justified giving the epistemic facts to do that thing.
okay, say I'm being hunted down by the big bad Yanni, right? Like I didn't pay my bills or something, and now Yanni's after me, and Yanni has like a gun to my head, and Yanni says, "Hey, the only way you could live is if you give me this Down syndrome person's life." Am I morally justified in shooting the guy in the head, the Down syndrome person?
Okay, so Yanni, is forcing you with your life to do an action to kill a Down
Wait, my
syndrome
mom's
person.
not a good thing.
Top five debates all
Look,
time.
the
I love it.
appeal,
I love it. I
to
love it.
me seem clear. Because I think that you might have sufficient moral justification given the epistemic facts.
Okay,
Whether
but
it's the
it's
best
just
thing to do
it's
in
just my mom and dad. Okay, continue.
yeah, okay.
Restart.
So
Restart.
I think that you might have sufficient moral justification given the epistemic facts. However, whether it's the best thing to do in that situation is unclear to me. There might be better avenues, right? So like you might take an altruistic approach and say that the best thing in the situation is just to let yourself be killed. But I think there's a lot of epistemic facts that we don't have access to currently, which might just suspend my judgment on, whether to either, yes or no.
What epistemic facts?
So like the epistemic facts would include the broader consequences of the outcome. Right? So like imagine if me killing this Down syndrome person would, turn their family into absolute grief. It would
Okay,
destroy
what
their
if I say all
family.
else equal? Let's
Okay,
just attach it.
else.
Yeah.
And then, you hunt down this Down syndrome person, you shoot them in the head. So like you don't torture them or anything, you shoot them in the head peacefully.
No, you just kill them while they're sleeping or something.
Yeah, I don't think that you might have done the best thing in that situation. However, I think that you probably had sufficient moral justification given what you knew in that situation.
Okay, hold the phone. Hold. So if Yanni's hunting me down because I haven't paid my bills, it's morally permissible. Like we're justified in taking the life of an innocent Down syndrome person, so I can save my own life and handing him over to Yanni. Nice one, Rizzhan.
I think that if you're being hunted down by another individual who says that they're going to kill you, um, and then for you to survive, you must kill another person or kill another individual, a Down syndrome individual. Um, I think that it would be morally permissible or you have moral justification to do that given the epistemic facts. However, again, whether it's the best thing to do in the situation, whether it's the best moral thing to do in the situation, is something that I'd probably suspend my judgment on. I'd probably say it's not the best thing to do in that situation, given that holds like these altruistic accounts, which say that you should probably think about other people in place of yourself. But given the circumstances of this person, you know, being a person with Down syndrome, they have Down syndrome. Given that if you were to die, more harm would have been done. If you think about it, is they're already impaired. It's like they're already, have these impairments, and which if they die, they'd be less harmed. However, you'd be more harmed, given if you died. And so, given that you'd be more harmed if you died, a Down syndrome person would be less harmed. I think that you'd have sufficient moral justification to do that thing. And
Yeah, yeah.
again, whether it's the best thing to do, is something I suspend my judgment on.
Okay, I mean that's fine. You don't have to. You can like suspend your judgment on whether or not it's the best thing to do. The point is, I think most people would have the intuition
You can
that
get empirics
it's
for that.
not. Bro, I'm not doing all that right now. I think
Yeah,
most people
okay,
agree
so
though.
then you just render, okay, so you agree that you
Look,
cannot
look,
actually
look,
justify the
look,
claim you
look,
just made.
look. At least let me say the reductio for the Shinra guy. Okay, look. I think most people agree. Most people have the intuition that it's not morally
You notice how
justified for.
Shinra left.
Yeah, fuck this
Also,
guy.
why
Okay,
would
let's
Shinra
go
be like a
next point.
sufficient
Next point.
sample
Next
size?
point. Next point. Next point. It's whatever. It's whatever. Next point. You said that. What do you call it? The fetus doesn't have sentience at the moment either, and the rock doesn't either, and the rock will develop sentience in 9 months. Same thing for the fetus. It's like I'm unsure about like what's the morally relevant distinction. If the rock also develops like sentience to the same degree.
I'm saying the circumstances for moral justification are different, right? It's like if you're asking me whether you'd be morally justified in aborting it, I think that if you don't have knowledge that the rock will gain the sentience, then you'd be morally justified. If you have knowledge that the rock will gain a sentience and it won't be an absolutely painful birth, then I think that you wouldn't be morally justified. However, I
You're not
think the
giving birth to the
epistemic
rock.
factor relevant here.
You're not giving birth to the rock. You're just like crushing, like you're just removing it from your vagina.
Yeah, okay, if you're removing it from there and it's going to gain, you have knowledge it's going to gain sentience, you have knowledge it's going to deploy the similar or same amounts of sentience as a human being, then I think that you wouldn't be morally justified in, just ending the rock's life. But I don't think it would mean anything to end the rock's life because a rock isn't the type of thing that's living. However, fetus is the type of thing that's living. It just doesn't deploy
Yeah, I don't
consciousness.
care. I've never said anything about ending the rock's life. I just said remove it from you and like effectively just like stop like the potential for sentience. But yeah, I mean, so it's so you're saying, what do you call it? Yes, it's morally unjustified for me to remove a rock from my vagina
Given that you
if
have
I have the
given you
potential.
have access to relevant epistemic facts, if you don't have access to the fact that it will gain sentience in 9 months, or if you don't have access to the fact that it will deploy the same amount of sentience as a normal human being, then I think you'd be morally justified because obviously moral justification supervenes on the epistemic facts that you actually have.
Hold on. So if you have access to the fact that this rock will gain sentience equal to normal humans in 9 months, it's morally unjustified for you to remove it from your vagina, and instead you should live through the excruciating pain for 9 months and live through the pain of childbirth, right?
Where I just told you that okay, if rock would cause you, excruciating pain to the point it might be a medical necessity, then you just if it's not a medical necessity, then you wouldn't just
No, it's just normal childbirth. It's just a normal pregnancy and childbirth.
in normal pregnancy and childbirth. Yeah,
That's how
there are
I
also
understand it.
I think there are also other factors of the situation that you need to consider. But yeah, I don't think you'd be
Like,
morally justified. Yeah, the other moral factors is that how are you going to raise this rock, right? How are you going to raise it? How
did
will
I
the rock
say,
develop in the
did I
future?
say it'll be? Did I say it will be a child? Or like, did I say it will be? Did I say you have to raise it?
Yeah, but I'm asking you, what will the rock be like in the future? Like, what will it normally or
Literally just be
generally be
sentient.
like?
Literally just be sentient. That's it.
Okay, it'll just be sentient, and what type of things can it use its sentience to do? That's what I'm asking you.
Uh, nothing really. I still don't think like that's like a morally relevant distinction from the
So it,
fetus.
it can't. Okay, so you're saying that it's sentient, but it can't actually deploy any capability with its sentience.
Wait, hold on. Let me. My chair's about to fall on me. Hold on. Ah. Okay. Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, yeah. So if it can't deploy any capabilities, then I think that the parameters of the situation would actually be heavily impacted or changed.
Okay. How? What's the morally relevant distinction between that and the fetus?
Because
Buckaroo.
the fetus in the future, all else equal, normally, generally, will be the type of thing that can deploy these things that can engage in meaningful relationships, like relationships of love,
What
relationships,
if there's a socially
happiness.
inept fetus?
That's what we refer to when we talk about future like ours and future experience. That's what we refer to. Future experience isn't just like the basic fact of you being sentient. It also refers to the fact that you can engage in these other conscious relationships with other sentient beings.
bro. What if the fetus was socially inept?
No, I'm saying that
Guys,
if
his
the
name is
fetus is
not
socially
Gyro,
inept, generally
it's
or normally
Euro.